Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Before we begin, please hit the subscribe button and give this video thumbs up. According to spoilers for Monday, March 9's episode of The Bold and the Beautiful, B&B, Steffy Forrester Finnegan, Jacqueline McInnes Wood, will continue to insist that Deacon Sharp, Sean Cannon, and Taylor Hayes, Rebecca Budig, cannot be together. There will be a lot going on B&B, as Electra Forrester, Linnea Grace, will also extract some enraging information from Will Spencer, Crew Morrow. Ivy Forrester, Ashley Brewer, will exert additional pressure in the Forrester design office in the hopes of preventing Daphne Rose, Muriel Hilaire, from disclosing her manipulation. Even though Ivy has already caused enough chaos, things are going to become worse. After his speech in the Forrester showroom, Will is optimistic about getting back together with Electra, but things are about to go horribly wrong. This is due to the fact that Electra would demand complete transparency from Wood and find out if he ever went too far with Dylan, Sydney Bullock. Wood would probably acknowledge that anything happened after their breakup because he won't want to lie to Electra. It appears that Will admit that to Electra after Dylan pulled him into a kiss. Naturally, this will only confirm Electra's beliefs. 2 seconds after their breakup, Electra may become enraged because she believes Dylan has been waiting to attack Will. Will might throw the kiss in Electra's face because he recently witnessed Electra kissing R.J. Forrester, Brian Nicoletti, and wonder how that's any different. In any event, Electra and Will won't be making amends anytime soon. What began as Ivy's plan is turning into more errors and a more profound sense of betrayal. Speaking of betrayals, Steffy will be upset that Taylor broke her vow to break up with Deacon. Steffy is furious and preparing for another massive outburst after discovering Taylor and Deacon together. In the hopes that Taylor will pay attention this time, Steffy will issue one last warning that this will end permanently. Steffy will mean business because Deacon will receive further directives to avoid Taylor. Steffy might insist on keeping Taylor out of her life and the lives of her grandkids if this occurs once more. According to previews for The Bold and the Beautiful, Steffy will break the law, so keep an eye out for the explosive tension. With the events hinted at for Monday, March 9th, the drama on The Bold and the Beautiful has escalated to a fever pitch. Steffy Forrester Finnegan, who has always been extremely protective of her family, her mother Taylor Hayes, and the tenuous peace that has barely held together in the wake of previous instability with Sheila Carter, is at the center of the unrest. The sudden and, in Steffy's opinion, completely undesirable bond between Taylor and Deacon Sharp has rocked her life. This is a full-fledged romantic connection that threatens to destroy all Steffy has worked so hard to build, not simply a casual flirtation or a brief period of poor judgment. Once the embodiment of grace and moral fortitude, Taylor has become enthralled with Deacon, a guy whose past is marred by redemption stories, blunders, and an ongoing marriage to Sheila, who is dangerously unpredictable. For months, Taylor and Deacon's desire has been simmering due to their shared vulnerabilities, late-night talks, and unguarded moments of candor that neither of them could ignore. Deacon and Taylor have found it difficult to remain apart despite Steffy's severe warnings and threats to take Taylor out of both her and her grandchildren's lives if she pursues this. The weight of rebellion is carried by their love confessions, whether they are stolen in offices or muttered in packed restaurants. They are aware of the dangers, Sheila's possible fury, family strife, and criticism from everyone in their immediate vicinity. However, the attraction is too great, resulting in intense kisses and possibly even more private surrenders that are irreversible. Ever the watchful daughter, Steffy has spotted the impending lie. She has been worriedly discussing her plans to approach Hope Logan about the problem with her husband Finn, hoping to find an ally to help put an end to this. Deacon's daughter Hope, however, has a different perspective. She believes that her father should pursue his happiness with Taylor, even if it means pushing him away from Sheila. The tension between Steffy and Hope has only increased as a result of their disagreement, transforming what should have been a private family issue into a larger dispute at Forrester Creations and elsewhere. Steffy won't give up because she feels Taylor is endangering not only her own safety but also the safety of everyone who is associated with Sheila. The anxiety is genuine since Steffy has experienced enough pain to understand that history can repeat itself, and Sheila has a history of using violence when betrayed. The conflict escalates to a breaking point on this specific Monday. Equipped with suspicion and possibly new proof of Taylor and Deacon's ongoing relationship, Steffy lets loose her rage. Her scathing comments, which reverberate throughout the hallways of Forrester Creations or maybe Il Giardino, Deacon's restaurant where secrets tend to leak out, bash both her mother and Deacon. The statements are scathing, accusing, betraying, and disappointing. Steffy doesn't hold back. She reminds Taylor of the commitments made, the demands made, and how this decision feels like a clear rejection of everything their family has worked so hard to rebuild. She calls out Deacon's reckless pursuit of something unlawful and his incapacity to be committed to Sheila, exposing her disdain for his part in this. As Steffy urges that they put an end to it permanently or face long-term repercussions, the situation is heated, with voices raised and raw emotions. Even though the room feels smaller with each charge made, Deacon maintains his composure, possibly defending the sincerity of his feelings, while Taylor's face breaks beneath the weight of her daughter's rage. This conflict is the result of weeks of mounting pressure rather than a single incident. Steffy has witnessed her mother become aloof, reclusive, and unusually evasive. When combined with observations of Deacon spending excessive amounts of time in her office or the way her eyes brighten when he is mentioned, Taylor's justifications about needing space or concentrating on her work seem false. When her kids are around, Steffy's protective instincts go into overdrive. The idea of Sheila being enraged with them if the affair is discovered is too much for her to handle. Steffy draws a line in the sand with all of her strength. It's more than just a verbal slam. She charges Taylor with being hypocritical, disregarding the suffering brought on by previous relationships, and favoring a man like Deacon over her own family. Deacon, who is no new to conflict, might retaliate by stating that love cannot be ordered or prohibited, but in the heat of the moment, his words are ignored. In the meantime, another storm involving the younger generation is brewing throughout the complex web of relationships in Los Angeles. The ambitious and composed model Electra Forrester, who has been managing her relationship with Will Spencer, is at a turning point in her life. Their relationship has been difficult due to miscommunications and outside influences. Ivy Forrester, Electra's relative and an interfering figure in her own right, has advocated for a clean split, maybe because she feels Electra deserves more or that Will is inappropriate. When the separation finally happened, Will was in shock and exposed to fresh attention from Dylan, who had been open about her attraction. Will and Dylan's rash and inappropriate kiss has further fueled the flames. But without answers, Electra isn't prepared to let go. She believes there may be more to Will's actions than he is acknowledging, such as unresolved emotions, unspoken uncertainties, or something he hasn't fully acknowledged about his relationships with other people. Electra confronts Will on this Monday, her resolve unshakable. In a moment full of passion and accusation, she coerces him into making the confession, piece by piece. Taken by surprise, Will may confess the truth about the kiss with Dylan or express more profound remorse about the way things ended with Electra. The argument is heated. Electra expects honesty and won't allow evasions or half-truths. Her voice trembles with hurt and rage. Whether it's his confusion, his attraction to someone else, or his understanding that their relationship was founded on flimsy footing, Will finally acknowledges what he's been holding back, possibly overwhelmed by guilt. Pretenses are stripped away in this instant. Electra won't be left wondering or second-guessing since her assertiveness stems from a sense of self-respect. Depending on what he discloses, Will's confession might be either therapeutic or tragic. If it's about Dylan, it validates Electra's worst suspicions that he moved on too soon. Although forgiveness may be a long way off, it opens the door to understanding if there's something deeper, such as pressure from his family or reservations about commitment. Both of them are altered by the conversation, and the atmosphere is heavy with unresolved suffering and the potential for either closure or more division. Family ties, love betrayals, and personal reckonings collide as these two storylines. Steffy's explosive confrontation with Taylor and Deacon and Electra's relentless pursuit of the truth from Will intertwine in the show's characteristic manner. Love turned into fear, a daughter's desperate attempt to shield her mother from herself, is the source of Steffy's rage. In contrast, Taylor's disobedience represents a woman regaining passion after years of self-control, even at great personal expense. Caught in the midst, Deacon struggles with both the repercussions of following his heart and his own atonement. Steffy's and Electra's intense demands for confession are similar in that they both won't tolerate lying. The consequences of what happened on Monday are expected to spread. Taylor might be drawn closer to Deacon as a result of Steffy's bashing, strengthening their relationship in private or requiring a public apology. Taylor may justify her decisions by claiming that she has a right to happiness, but Steffy's pain will never go away. Sheila might put further pressure on Deacon if rumors get to her, or his own kids might see the devastation this could cause. If honesty restores trust, Elektra and Will's confession may put an end to their relationship permanently or lead to a tentative reconciliation. In any case, the drama between the younger couple deepens the generational tensions by demonstrating how love, treachery, and conflict recur across the ages. No ultimatum is accepted in the world of the bold and the beautiful, and no secret is hidden for very long. The show's recurring themes of loyalty, forbidden passion, and the costly price of following one's heart are highlighted by Steffy's audacious opposition to her mother's romance with Deacon. The agony of doubt in young love and the bravery required to demand clarity are highlighted by Elektra's aggressive extraction of the truth from Will. When taken as a whole, these scenes perfectly encapsulate the intensity of a soap opera. Individuals are forced to face the repercussions of their choices, relationships are put to the test, and emotions are intensified. Viewers should anticipate greater escalation of emotions as the week goes on. More stolen moments could result from Taylor and Deacon's passion, increasing the possibility of being discovered. Steffy's alertness can develop into overt surveillance or partnerships with people who have similar worries. Equipped with Will's admission, Elektra may focus her efforts on her work or other opportunities, while Will deals with the fallout from his candor. Hope, Finn, Ivy, and others are drawn into the vortex as a result of the intertwined lives in Los Angeles, which guarantee that one explosion affects many. The complexity of the characters' motivations is what makes these developments so captivating. Steffy is not just domineering, she is intensely maternal and traumatized by past threats. Taylor is human and yearns for connection after loss, she is not self-centered. Deacon is an imperfect man looking for something genuine in the midst of chaos, not a villain. Elektra is hurt and looking for closure, not vengeful. Will is young and perplexed, not heartless. The program relies on these subtleties, transforming seemingly straightforward betrayals into intricate examinations of the various manifestations of love. Monday, March 9th, is a crucial day when relationships are at stake, boundaries are breached, and truths are made public. The audacious confrontations, Steffy's insults and Elektra's demands, remind us of the reason this enduring drama is still so compelling. Everyone is ultimately looking for authenticity, even when it causes the most pain. One thing is certain, the drama is far from done, and the impact will continue to shape tales for months to come. The future is unknown, full of possible reconciliation or irrevocable rupture. As relationships are strained to the breaking point and long-suppressed feelings suddenly out, tension in Los Angeles keeps rising. Families that had previously thought they understood one another now find themselves doubting love, loyalty, and motivations. Long after the dust settles, a number of confrontations on this specific day promise to upend everything in ways that nobody completely anticipates. When she thinks someone she loves is making a mistake, Steffy Forrester has never held back. She frequently gets herself into awkward talks that others would prefer to avoid because of her protective mentality, particularly when it comes to her family. But lately, Steffy has been dealing with a different kind of annoyance, one that is specifically aimed at her mother. Although Taylor Hayes has always made an effort to mentor her kids with patience and wisdom, Steffy starts to worry that Taylor could be allowing her past feelings to cloud her judgment. When Steffy observes that Taylor is getting far too involved in things that Steffy feels belong securely in the past, their tension increases. Ridge Forrester, Brooke Logan, and the complex history between their families have all left behind old wounds that have never fully healed. Steffy starts to feel that her mother is revisiting conflicts that ought to have remained hidden, despite Taylor's insistence that she simply wants what is best for her kids. When the two do sit down to discuss, things rapidly get hot. Steffy expresses her disappointment without holding back. She notes that despite their family's years-long efforts to put their past disputes behind them, Taylor seemed committed to evoking those feelings once more. In an attempt to justify herself, Taylor explains that she sees patterns recurring and worries that the people she loves could be harmed by history once more. But Steffy thinks that thinking about the past will only make matters worse. Despite its fragility, she informs her mother that everyone has put a lot of effort into creating a sense of tranquility. Steffy believes that Taylor's actions have the potential to reverse all of that progress. Steffy frankly informs Taylor that sometimes taking a step back rather than moving ahead is the best approach to protect family, which intensifies the debate. It's obvious that Taylor is surprised by Steffy's critical remarks. Even though her kids don't always agree with her tactics, she has always felt that they value her leadership. It affects her more deeply than she anticipated to hear Steffy doubt her judgment. However, Taylor is unwilling to give up entirely. She maintains that she can't just dismiss the warning signs she sees and that her instincts are usually correct. Across town, Deacon Sharp is dealing with a challenging emotional circumstance of his own. For years, Deacon has worked to restore his reputation and demonstrate that he is a dependable and encouraging partner. One of the most contentious developments in recent memory has been his friendship with Sheila Carter, which has many questioning whether Deacon really knows what he has gotten himself into. Deacon is adamant about sticking behind Sheila in spite of the criticism from friends and family. He sees something in Sheila that others won't admit, and he feels that everyone should have the opportunity to be saved. Even then, he has to acknowledge that living with Sheila frequently entails danger and drama that few people would voluntarily embrace. Sheila has never been trusted by Steffy, and she probably never will. Sheila's memories of the suffering and mayhem she created in the past are still far too fresh. Steffy's already mounting fury erupts when she finds out that Deacon is still standing up for Sheila. She finds it incomprehensible that anyone could ignore the numerous detrimental decisions Sheila has made. When Steffy eventually confronts Deacon, things get heated. She doesn't care about proper wording or courteous speech. Rather, she gets right to the point, accuses Deacon of supporting someone who has only caused suffering for a great number of people. Steffy makes it apparent that she views supporting Sheila as risky rather than loyal. While Steffy lets her rage out, Deacon struggles to maintain composure. He tells her that people can change and that harboring resentment indefinitely simply makes things worse. Deacon contends that despite the fact that few people are open to it, Sheila has been attempting to reveal a new side of herself. He believed that leaving her now would be tantamount to rejecting the idea that anyone can genuinely move past their previous transgressions. That explanation doesn't sit well with Steffy. She maintains that some behaviors leave wounds that are too severe to just get over. She believes that Deacon is letting his emotions cloud his judgment. She cautions him that he may lose relationships that are considerably more important than he understands if he stands up for Sheila. As that showdown takes place, a different plot discreetly gains traction in another location. Elektra has been keeping a careful eye on Will Spencer because she feels that something about his actions doesn't quite make sense. Although Will has always had a certain appeal, there has recently been a jittery energy about him that begs the question. Elektra doesn't readily disregard her gut feelings. She grows increasingly certain that Will is concealing something significant the more she watches him. She initially employs modest strategies, such as light-hearted jokes, informal inquiries, and opportunities to get him to open up. Will, however, keeps avoiding the subject by giving evasive answers that further heighten her suspicions. Elektra eventually concludes that she won't acquire the answers she seeks with just patience. She confronts Will head-on, letting him know that she is aware of his lack of honesty. Her assumptions are instantly confirmed by the expression on his face. Will tries to dismiss it by saying that she is overanalyzing the situation, but Elektra won't allow the discussion to stray. She exerts more pressure on him, telling him that secrets are rarely kept secret indefinitely. She feels that if he has anything significant to say, it would be better for him to acknowledge it now, rather than wait for the truth to come out later in a much more agonizing manner. Will is put in a challenging situation by Elektra's tenacity. It looks like he might keep denying everything for a second. Elektra isn't giving up, though. It is evident by her perseverance and unwavering gaze that she demands honesty. With every second that goes by, the tension between them intensifies. At last, Will understands that hiding the truth will only exacerbate the situation. He sighs reluctantly and starts to confess. At first, the words are difficult to say. He acknowledges that he has been hiding something that he was afraid might alter people's perceptions of him. Elektra listens intently, a mixture of interest and worry on her face. The significance of Will's concealed truth becomes evident as he goes on to explain. His admission exposes decisions and emotions that he had been attempting to suppress because he thought that doing so would cause turmoil in both his own life and the lives of people around him. Even though it's clear that what she's hearing is important, Elektra maintains a surprising level of composure as she takes it all in. For Will, the situation turns vulnerable. He's always wanted to project a self-assured, carefree attitude, but suddenly that mask is coming off. He must face the repercussions he has been evading when he acknowledges the truth. But Elektra doesn't react with the rage he was afraid of. Rather, she recognizes that the first step in solving any issue is being honest. She respects his decision to finally disclose the truth, even though she may not agree with everything he has done. Will feels somewhat relieved by her response, but he is aware that there is still much to be done. Steffy and Deacon's tension is still simmering from their earlier encounter. It appears that neither of them is prepared to accept even a tiny portion of the disagreement. Their divergent views on accountability and forgiveness create a gap that seems almost insurmountable. Steffy reminds Deacon that setting clear limits is sometimes necessary to safeguard loved ones. She feels that letting someone like Sheila back into their world runs the risk of causing the same catastrophes that everyone has fought so hard to avoid. As she describes how profoundly those prior traumas still impact her, there is a mixture of fear and rage in her voice. Deacon, on the other hand, maintains that people might become stuck in a vicious cycle of bitterness if they don't believe in change. He acknowledges that Sheila made many bad decisions in the past, but he also thinks it is pointless to condemn her indefinitely. Giving someone the opportunity to demonstrate their uniqueness is, in his opinion, an act of hope rather than stupidity. There isn't a definitive conclusion to their dispute. Rather, it solidifies their positions even further. Steffy leaves with the conviction that Deacon is making a risky error, but Deacon is adamant about following his heart in spite of everyone's disapproval. Taylor, meantime, sits by herself and considers her prior argument with Steffy. When her daughter confronts her, she is forced to consider whether she has really been letting past emotions affect her choices. Taylor has always made an effort to strike a balance between her professional knowledge and her personal feelings, but when it comes to family-related issues, that distinction can easily become hazy. She questions whether Steffy is correct when she says that sometimes the only way to move on is to let go of the past. However, Taylor also thinks that disregarding warning indicators can result in much more heartache. She is unsure of what to do next because of the conflict between those two ideals. The numerous confrontations and confessions of the day start to sink into everyone's brains as night falls. Will's hesitant candor, Taylor's introspection, Steffy's rage, and Deacon's unwavering devotion are all components of a bigger picture that keeps changing. In Los Angeles, feelings are rarely kept under wraps for very long, and any disclosure could lead to fresh disputes or unanticipated partnerships. Relationships that have already seen many highs and lows may soon be affected by what started out as a string of heated exchanges. The day strengthens Steffy's resolve to defend the people she cares about, even if it means disagreeing with those who have a different perspective. It makes Deacon more determined to support the woman he feels should be given another shot. It gives Taylor a chance to reflect, which could influence her future decisions. The revelation also signals the start of a new chapter for Elektra and Will, one that is based on honesty but is nevertheless clouded by the fallout from secrets that took too long to come to light.